Normal type Pokemon aren't usually considered cool, but you know, adding an extra type at the end can make a whole bunch of difference to a Pokemon. This one being electric. And what normal electric type do we know from Kalos? Heliolisk is honestly my favorite Pokemon from Kalos. It has a greatly built design and a cool stat distribution. It's also pretty dang powerful in battle as it might seem to be, so that's another great thing. Its abilities are rather situational, but you know what, I love using Heliolisk in a double battle with Lantern. Having a Heliolisk with Dry Skin ability and a Lantern with Bolt Absorb ability, and shoving a Surf and Parabolic Charge duo, it often works really well. And giving Heliolisk a big root makes it even more dangerous. That's one thing I also tried, making a double battle team, since I never thought of making so, but after I learned about this combo I had to try it out. And then I enjoyed battling people with it, so that's a big reason why I like it so much. And speaking of Lantern, Lantern became a favorite of mine alongside Heliolisk for the exact same reason. I only prefer Lantern by a little bit because of its capability of using Stockpile. I've been able to tank quite a lot of hits getting away with a few stockpiles. Heck, I had battles where Lantern was the last one knocked out, and I always send it out first with Heliolisk. Lantern is just honestly a blast to use. Not only that, but it looks awesome. The last two entries were pretty short, but now that that should be over with, let's head back to the lovely Alola region and take a look at our lovely starters. And yes, there's finally a starter Pokemon on the list, but trust me, this isn't the last one. When their first evolutions were announced, everyone was hoping that it would not have been another firefighting again. But seeing as the last game had a fire psychic, most people saw a different turn coming for this one. And to please fans, we have a strong fire dark starter, known as Incineroar. It's pretty powerful as he seems. The second I heard we were having a cat starter, I knew it would have been my choice from day one. The design looks pretty good, and a quality fire cat starter. The stats are great too, having good defenses, a good attack stat, as well as HP. And I'm glad we finally got a fire cat. Of all the Chinese zodiac signs, this was probably the most hopeful for me, the second being rabbit. I'm hopeful for the next starter ending up to be based off a rabbit, but I guess I could live it with it being a goat too. You know what? There's no shame in favoriting this mascot of the series. Pikachu is certainly nice, and there shouldn't be any reason to hate it. It certainly falls short in combat, and Ash's Pikachu makes no sense whatsoever, but in the end, Pikachu is what made the franchise grow to what it would be today. But one thing's for sure, Raichu gets much too overshadowed. I'm not sure where the trend of Raichu becoming so unpopular came from, but to be honest, I quite like it. Raichu was my second favorite for quite a long time. I guess the reason it fell from my favorite was training other Pokemon afterwards and moving on to them. But hey, Raichu is still good. Oh, and don't even get me started on that Alola form. It's the cherry on top of what makes Raichu great. Overall in combat, it's good enough, and it has some good moves. People might have forgotten about Raichu, but I know I didn't. Honestly, 6 and 5 can be placed in any order, but we're sticking with this one anyways. So yeah, Pokemon from here on are basically some that I have trained before, an exception of that one starter. Once again, another Generation 5 Pokemon, because why not? So we've taken a look at an ice cream cone, a derpy 3D bird, and a hoodlum. But what more can there be along with those three? I tell you, the moon! No, literally I'm talking about Shauna. So seeing Shauna at first, it looks mighty and fine. And you wouldn't be wrong to think it was strong, knowing moves like Calm Mind and Moonlight. It's a thing hard to knock off the field. This one is all about taking hits and healing, then shooting Psychic over and over. It's not something to mess with once it's set up. But honestly, the thing that catches my attention the most would be the design. Who would have known this would look so cool? Not me at first for sure, but they sure surprised me. But it's a bit creepy when it opens its eyes, so don't wake it up. Like I mentioned earlier, Cinccino and Musharna can be put in any order, it doesn't really matter. The reason why I like Cinccino so much is, like Musharna, it's really good in combat. However, it's like the opposite of Musharna. Whereas Musharna is slow and tanky, Cinccino wants to get the job done quickly. Knowing moves like Bullet Seed, Rock Blast, and Tail Slap, and having Skill Link as its hidden ability, this is one crazy Pokemon to battle against. With a guaranteed 125 power for each attack, along with having a good attacking speed. This is just to prove that normal type Pokemon can be strong. Cinccino certainly makes a good example of that. Taking one last visit to Sinnoh before we leave it for now, it's time for my favorite starter. Honestly, I like all of them, but to be honest, my favorite of them happens to be the least popular. You know, a lot of my picks are unpopular ones, and Polion was my first Pokemon ever, and it's been my favorite since the time I played Pokemon Platinum, which is the first Pokemon game I ever played. Despite it not being at an advantage against Infernape or Torterra, I can't say it's really bad in any way. But having a typing of Water and Steel, it's an interesting typing to me. Many of its weaknesses are neutralized by its other type, and that is something I like about dual-type Pokemon. And being a Steel type, it has a whopping 10 resistances and 1 immunity, which is nothing to be ashamed of. So I think Empoleon might be my favorite starter of all time, and probably for a long time. Putting up the final 3 was extremely difficult, because I like these final 3 almost all equally, but decisions had to be made, and so this is what the list ended up to be. Azumarill was made to take hits. With a super good defense, special defense, and HP, this will be hard to take down. Paired up with its ability Huge Power, you've got yourself something that won't get taken down easily, and will take down stuff easily. I also like its design so much. And I recently found out Azumarill's design was based off a beach ball, which shocked me at first, but then I realized how much it resembled one. But I realized that it's also kinda subtle. I'm honestly not sure why Azumarill isn't as popular as it should be, because it's strong and it's such a good Pokemon. Only now did I notice we didn't talk about Hoenn throughout the last 2 videos. So because of that, let's go right now. And don't worry, the number 1 pick is also from Hoenn. Don't go thinking I forgot about this lovely region. There's a large amount of Pokemon here, and most of them are good, but when we take a look at the start of the game, this is where this Pokemon roams, more precisely, at the forest at the beginning. And this is a Pokemon I've heard quite a few people like, such as a few YouTubers I'm subscribed to either find it as their first favorite or second favorite, and I also like it quite a lot. But after having to do a forceful decision with these final 3, I decided to put Breloom in second. Oops. Did I just say the Pokemon's name? Dang it! Breloom. A mushroom. A karate mushroom. A dinosaur karate mushroom. The one who fears flying so badly. Yes, him. What's not to like about Breloom? From stats to abilities to moves, and most importantly, this great design. Honestly, there are so many good things about it, I think its quad weakness to flying doesn't really matter at this point. On top of that, Breloom can learn Drain Punch. Drain Punch. What's that? Low on health? Just suck the life energy out of your nemesis and heal up your HP. And Mach Punch is its signature move. You can't have a Breloom without Mach Punch. Breloom is such a good Pokemon, it's no wonder why people like it so much. And I'm honestly not sure why I didn't start using it so much earlier. There was also this one time I played it in a battle royale with a team with Breloom in it, and Breloom had 3 KOs. However, I still lost the battle because people saw I was a threat and took me out right away. I don't think I'll ever forget that moment of glory that I had with Breloom. Now we're almost at the number 1, but I think before we do that, we should give out some honorable mention to those Pokemon that nearly made the list, but didn't quite make it. This Pokemon is probably my number 21 on my list. A Dragon Land Shark is something cool, and I've used its Mega Evolution quite a lot as well. Gallade and Gardevoir are fan favorites for a reason. They look great, they battle great, and they are extremely powerful. Typhlosion is a cool Pokemon, but like the other Johto starters, I dislike that monotype of fire. I like it when a Pokemon has 2 types rather than 1, which is why Typhlosion didn't make it. It doesn't learn that many good moves either, sadly, but hey, it's still my favorite Johto starter. I like Superior a lot, and I feel like it should have probably made it on the list somewhere, but I guess it just got outclassed by other Pokemon. But hey, on my second playthrough of Black and White, I used it again and it was a beast. Crocodile is certainly one I enjoyed training and using in battle. With that Moxie ability, it's going to stack up attack in no time. Flygon doesn't have much story to it, I just like it, and I think its shiny looks great too, having a nice blue and orange. 1 HP doesn't sound scary, but having an ability that makes you only attackable by 5 types is certainly something that you can tell your family about. I love this mysterious Pokemon, which is why I considered it, and that's about all I have for honorable mentions. So I guess this is the point of the video where I just say random stuff for a minute until I reveal what my favorite thing is. So yeah, listen up I guess. Hoenn, once again, I must say had a lot of interest in Pokemon. Having the majestic Flygon, to the creepy and cool Shedinja, to the one everyone mistakes as a grass type, and trust me, I know a lot of people who mistake Gardevoir for a grass type. But really, I look at them and I think they're fantastic. This region has a good presence of Pokemon, and a lot of them stand out a lot, with a few who are left out in the dark. This one is probably one of those that are kind of in the middle though. Some people like it, some of them find it mediocre at best, and others just dislike it completely. But I, myself, haven't tried it until Generation 7, and I thought I would use it in my Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon team because I liked it so much. But if you're not sure who I'm talking about, then I'd be glad to answer that my favorite Pokemon is Mawile. By looking at Mawile, it just looks so cool. First of all, its stats look a bit fearsome, but when it sets up even 1 stockpile, that's when it's the beginning of the nightmare. You'd better have a fire or ground type move because otherwise that thing is not going down anytime soon. And let's look at its abilities. Hypercutter's okay, Intimidate is very good, and Sheer Force is fantastic. And the Steel and Fairy fighting is probably the best combination they have created so far, having 9 resistances, 2 weaknesses, and 2 immunities. Most of the moves it can learn are also something not to mess with. Play Rough, Iron Head, Sucker Punch, and Stockpile. And I think the most important thing to point out is this beautiful and adorable design. Who knew a giant mouth of death attached to the back of your head could look so cute? But that's not all there is to Mawile. Can't forget the thing that it's the most known for, the Mega Evolution. Everything that was good about Mawile goes a step further once it Mega Evolves, getting much more attack, defense, and special defense. And if the attack boosts from huge power, it makes it even deadlier. And its design gets even better, now having 2 giant mouths of death and still keeping the nice charm from the original. And on top of that, not only is Mega Evolution a benefit for it, but Z-moves introduced Z Stockpile, and yes, I know I talk about Stockpile a lot, but it's just so good. But with Z Stockpile, your Pokemon's HP gets fully restored. Who would have known how broken this would be? I nearly beat the entire game using the strategy of Z-Stockpile. But in conclusion, Mawile is my favorite Pokemon of all time, and I feel so bad for having misunderstood it before. Well, it looks like the video's over. That's a bit of a shame. But if you don't want it to be over, then maybe you should wait until the end of the video, because I'm sure some videos will show up there that you could watch. And there's also that red button under the video that's written subscribe on it. I heard that cool stuff happens when you click on that button. I've tried it for myself before on different YouTube channels, and it worked out pretty well, and I was not disappointed. So I think you guys should probably click that if you want to, you know, like, not miss out on any videos, because that's always important if you want to see more videos from someone. But with that out of the way, I guess it'd be good to end the video right here before I run out of things to say, because you probably don't want to hear me babble for the next 5 years. So goodbye and see you next time, if that'll happen.